Let's drink some wine, shall we?
Oh, yes.
Oh, shall we? Okay, let's drink some wine. Hi. God of harvest and fertility, and the God of nature. Okay, let's drink some wine. Hi everyone, I'm Bryan Hinschberger.
And I'm Paul Hinschberger.
We're the Wine Brothers, and we are about to drink and embark upon an adventure, my brother.
An adventure.
An adventure into some of the greatest Ribera del Duero ever. Well, I mean, there's some really good Ribera del Duero, but I'm also really excited about these guys. This is Asenjo Manso. Asenjo Manso is in Ribera del Duero. In Ribera, there is several, many subzones of the area, all focused around the Duero River.
Sure.
The Duero's kind of goes all the way out to Porto in Portugal, goes through Port country. But Ribera del Duero, I would say, next to Rioja, carries one of the most prestigious names of wine regions in Spain.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Quinta del País is the varietal. So we're talking Tempranillo from Ribera del Duero.
Yes.
Absolutely old school style. I think 1982, the DO of Ribera del Duero was formed. And Ribera's kind of gone through a lot of different shifts and changes and whatnot, and you can kind of get different expressions of fruit and Tempranillo. But I love the way that A&M is doing what they're doing. So Jesus Asenjo and Carlos Manso, that's the A&M. And Jesus, it's his family estate. Jesus is just a charming individual, like a wonderful, kind spirit. And he is the viticulturist. I mean, the vineyards are his. His grandfather first planted their first vines, 100 years ago, 110 years ago, long time ago. And Jesus's father, to this day, still walks the vineyards every single day. I mean, organically farmed to a T, beautiful expression of Ribera del Duero. So I kind of got off topic because the subzones...
Not untypical.
Not untypical. The subzones of Ribera del Duero, there's many of them, but La Horra, it's a little further north off the river, a little higher up, a little bit more chalky calcareous clay or calcareous soils.
Sure.
And La Horra is home to famous Pingus, who makes some of the most expensive wines in the world, really. Mm-hmm. Down closer into the river is where you find the esteemed Vega Sicilia. Esteemed? Did I just say esteemed? Esteemed Vega Sicilia, which makes stunning, incredible, world-class, some of the most epic historical wines of Spain, period.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is these guys have older vines than even Vega Sicilia.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That is cool.
And awesome. So Jesus Asenjo is the viticulturist. Natalia Calleja is the winemaker. So Natalia is super sweet lady, and her and Jesus just work like two peas in a pod. They're wonderful together. And Natalia makes her wine in a really beautiful way. What I like about her style, she doesn't ferment in oak. She'll do all of her natural fermentations happen in stainless steel before she goes into oak regiment, because she doesn't want too much oak on her wines, which I respect. And the whole style and the way that they do their production is beautiful. If you want big, gorgeous, robust Ribera del Duero that still has class, still has elegance, which is kind of the important portion of Ribera, they've got it. So the Manso is this first wine. The Manso is kind of their introductory Ribera del Duero killer price point. This is true Crianza Ribera. So 12 months in both French and American oak that was used on the bigger brother wines. So all used oak barrels, but spends a lot of time in the barrels, really softening the edges, making it gorgeous, making it very, very elegant. What do you have from this wine, Paul?
It definitely has that like oak component, kind of like cedar notes.
Mm-hmm. Cedar, I think, is a great call, especially on the nose.
Yeah, and black cherry. It's very dark fruits, but in that lively cherry spectrum.
This wine is what I consider definitely an easy people pleaser. It has a lot of really juicy grapefruit. And it also has a lot of structure from the wood and oak components that add flavor. But it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is, and what's really crazy is this is true Crianza Ribera del Duero for well under $20. Mm-hmm. You know, amazing, sensational value. Really, really pretty. All their vineyards are old bush vines. You know, so these are probably the youngest of the vines they have, which are 30 to 50 years old.
Yeah.
And everything is that Albarello, the old bush vine style training, and they're awesome. They're awesome. So we are on a journey here of intense Tinta del País. So we're just going to step
up the scale.
We're going to step up the line. We're now into the organic Serras. So all of their vineyards are farmed completely organically. They have the same philosophy from vineyard to vineyard to vineyard, but they haven't certified all of it yet. And they may not. They may. It's kind of a, do you do that or you just make wine the way you make it? Mm-hmm. So they've certified one particular vineyard that is about 50-year-old vines, and that makes the Serras. So the Serra is named after the god of the harvest and fertility. This wine now sees new American oak, about 50%, and 50% used French oak which is the oak from the Sylvanas, its bigger brother.
Right.
So, but it spends 6 months in those oak regiments. So, what do you think?
I like it. It's very compared to the Manso or to the it's the oak. That oak is more integrated. I don't necessarily get that cedar component, but it's nice and fleshed out, very very seamless.
It is
raspberries
elegant.
and
This wine has a really great plush mouthfeel.
Yeah.
And the nose has a really neat kind of mineral-driven little bit of minerality to the nose, but also kind of the brambly, the woody parts of raspberry bushes, blackberry thorns.
It kind of has the tannin structure of it too. Like you kind of almost it's like you have that like chewing on a branch.
Yeah, or like raspberry seeds. Remember when Mom used to make those amazing raspberry fruit roll-ups?
Oh, yeah.
She dehydrated fruit roll-ups, and she'd sometimes like strain out all the seeds. Well, if you took all those seeds and you chomped on them, that'd be gross.
I never did that, but
well, but I mean, I'm thinking that kind of has that neat woody tone to it, but still laced with this beautiful, fresh kind of fruit tone. You're picking up what I'm putting down.
I think I think because I'm your brother, not everyone quite understands you as well as I do, but
that's probably true. That
is yet to be determined.
I like your shirt today, by the way. You gave me this shirt.
Yep. You're welcome, and thank you for my.
All right, so stepping up the line, this is now getting to the Sylvanas. Sylvanas is the god of nature. And the god of nature who was able to really bridge the gap between nature and civilization and kind of keep that world harmonious. And this now comes from 80-year-old vines, sees French oak barrels for I believe about 12 months on the Sylvanas, and is an extra kind of layer of complexity, another layer stepping up into kind of their older bush vine vineyards. Still, again, all organically farmed, just doesn't carry the actual certified stamp on the bottle. But I think this wine is gorgeous.
Wow.
Yeah. Talk to me?
I'm getting a lot of that same raspberry, black raspberry component. It's real dark and brooding, but at the same time, it's elegant and seamless. It's not really super heavy, but it's well balanced.
So have you ever heard what's the term? Iron fist and a velvet glove.
Yeah.
Is that how it goes, or is it a velvet glove over an iron fist?
No. Iron fist and a velvet glove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of which I think
this is going to be even more so that.
And that kind of gets into what Ribera is all about. Old school Barbera, or did I say Barbera or Ribera? Woohoo!
Yep.
So what old school Ribera is all about is really that that really intense, delicious fruit and earth, but still a lot of elegance.
Yeah.
Not just big oak bombs.
Sure.
Which some kind of bigger, newer producers are just going for, hey, let me punch you in that face.
Mm-hmm.
Bam! You know? So
These guys aren't violent. They're more on the peaceful side. That's good.
in fact, walking around the town, the little village of La Horra with Jesus, everybody says hi to him. Just everybody, like, hey, Jesus! And I'm going, Jesus, you know everybody. And he was pretty modest about it. He's like, oh, yeah, I don't know, whatever. And this is not a big winery. He's, they're not the big guys. And Natalia leans over to me and goes, oh, Jesus is the mayor of the village. I'm like, what? Like, how cool is that? Like, he's the freaking mayor of their little town. It's pretty awesome and had a lot of respect from a lot of people. So now this is the big papa. I gotta say, I am so excited to try this.
Bottle. I mean,
this bottle is not a Magnum. This is their kind of super exclusive, 3,000 bottles produced on the vintages that they want to produce it, coming from their very oldest little vineyard. So we're talking 100-year-old vine, Tinta del País, that Jesus' grandfather planted. When we were in Spain, this was the greatest wine of my entire trip.
Wow.
I mean, it blew my mind. Blew my mind. And can I, before you taste it, put this into perspective of how we drank this wine. Jesus took us to this beautiful restaurant, and I wish you could see this in America, but it doesn't happen. They brought out this tray with smoking hot coals, like coals from a fire, on it, and above it was kind of this lifted grill crate, and a bunch of lamb kebabs, or not kebabs,
skewers,
lamb chops. The French cut rack of lamb, but you separate them so you can kind of eat it like a lollipop. A bunch of raw lamb pops all over this grill, and you got to cook them at the table to your liking.
Oh, wow.
Drinking with this, go. Oh man, just the depth in the nose on this alone. It's so much more floral, like the So this vineyard, literally, each vine, each plant might produce one cluster of grapes.
Wow,
I mean that's low yield.
That is low yield.
This is low yield. This is not your 1999 little corner special.
Wow.
This is pretty serious stuff.
Brooding.
This is brooding.
Very brooding.
This is a brooding wine. What's going on in the palate?
I'm still getting that same like concept of that black raspberry, but this one has more like leather.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Leather and baking spice and
wow. That is so complex. Like all you Napa wine fans, like Napa California, big Cabernets. If you want complexity, I don't think it gets much more complex than this. There's a lot going on in this bottle.
There's a lot going on.
I can't even really comprehend everything that's still happening on my palate.
Yeah.
And it's tannic, it's brooding, the fruit is so layered, there's so many floral components, there's earthy components, there's stony components, there's vegetal components, there's like everything coming into one focused little glass of wine and saying, drink me. That's what it said to me.
I was thinking the voice was more like, drink me.
Drink me.
You got a lower voice, but yeah, it has that amazing...
Tells you where we're at, One of these days you'll go through it too. So, super, super deep, rich, unbelievable, unctuous, killer little Ribera del Duero. Not a little Ribera del Duero, this is a big Ribera del Duero. Very exclusive production, very small. Find these wines, go seek them out, try Ribera del Duero, get geeked out on good Tempranillo and what Tempranillo really has to offer. Because this has so much complexity that I just wish I could write it all down and it'd be like a 190-page essay. That's what I want to make. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.